Hi everyone, welcome again to another tutorial, and today we are going to check how to make a Minecraft style cube inside of Blender. So start the Blender as usual, and what we need to do is make a cube. Of course that's simple enough in a Blender, but we need to make a cube. We need to unwrap that cube so we get 6 faces separated individually, and we need them to be aligned perfectly to the pixel grid. So how are we gonna do that? Um, it's it's not that complicated actually. So we add a cube by pressing Shift A. Just let me turn on my shortcut viewer so you can see my buttons that I'm pressing. So Shift A and make a cube. Now we need to unwrap it. So we go into the edit mode by pressing Tab, and we select the edge mode by pressing 2 on the keyboard. So you have 1 for the vertex, 2 for the edge, and 3 for the face. So press 2 while everything is selected. If you have it deselected, just press A, or A to deselect, or Alt A, depends on which key map you are using. So select everything and press Ctrl E and click on a mark seam. What that will do is mark every edge of the cube, and we will have in our UV map 6 different faces when we unwrap it. To demonstrate that, click on the UV editing window. This is the UV map from the default cube. It's always in a cross layout. Press U to get a UV mapping menu and unwrap. So you get something like this. Press 4 or click on this icon here, and that gets you to the UV island selection. You have 4 modes, like it's just like in 3D view, like vertex select, edge select, face select, and what's even easier is UV island that will select every faces which are connected in all faces. So now we see how it unwraps. Main thing here is to be careful with the texture making and aligning it. So we can see here that it puts three squares next to each other. If we want all of them to be 16 by 16, so that's 3 times 16 by 16, we need to make a texture which is 48 by 48 pixels. So you go to New, name it like Minecraft Basic, put it on 48 by 48 pixels. You can put a UV grid so you can see how it looks like when you click on the preview mode. We don't need alpha, so just click OK. And now you can press again to unwrap. It won't do anything, but you can always be safe. Now you see that it's perfectly aligned. If you have any problems with aligning the UV faces or UV islands to your texture map, you can always go to UV, snap to pixels, and click on corner or center. I like to do corner, and then click on vertex select mode, and just click the vertex that I need to, and G, and it will snap that vertex to pixels. So basically what you can do, you can select 2 pixels on one edge and just click it and drag it according to the pixels on the image. It's very cool selection. So now we have our base texture here. Of course it's rubbish as usual. We need to set up a few things. So go to Shading tab. We can see that our cube is flat as usual. Go to our Shading tab, and now go to the Materials tab here and click on New. That will create a material for us and apply it to a current cube. We don't need a Principled BSDF shader. It has too much properties for for this simple task. Oops, I selected all. So just click on it and press delete. Shift A to add a new shader. We're gonna take a texture, image texture, and we need to convert that texture into the output, and we have a shader which is called diffuse BSDF, which does exactly that. So just connect it and select the texture here, Minecraft Basic, and you have your texture. However, there are a few problems. As you can see, this is a little bit blurry. That's according to anti-aliasing and in the texture bleed. What we can do here is in the texture node. First, we can also add the input, although it's not necessary, texture coordinate, and just align it to the UV. It won't change anything here, but if you have a different model, it might help you. What we need here is change the texture interpolation mode to closest, so we don't have that anti-aliasing anymore. And we are not gonna repeat our texture, we're just gonna change it to clip. So that's all for these options. And we have one more thing to change in the texture paint mode. Because when we are painting, we're gonna get a texture bleed from the face to face, and that's not really helpful. So go to the options. Of course, I'm just in the general settings. Go to the options and just put this texture bleed to 0 pixels. And that should be fine. Now we can start paint, but we're just gonna change our preview to flat. So that we don't have any influence from the world on our model. We can press Ctrl Space now to get into the full window mode, or Ctrl Space to get out. I use it all the time. Just gonna turn off the overlays. Okay, so this is your basic setup for painting this kind of textures. Now we need to choose a few colors. I'm not particularly good at this, but I'm gonna do my best. So I wanna do basic Minecraft style cube with a grass on top. And after that we are gonna do just a dirt cube, so we can align them around and just do a nice scenery. This one, no, it's too strong. This one, and just turn it down. Usually these are not too saturated colors. So choose brownish color as a base. We're gonna have a darker and a lighter color, so this is kind of a medium color base. And what are we gonna do here is gonna click on the color palette, click on new, type Minecraft, enter, and click on plus. So it just adds this color to our palette, and we don't have to select it like 500 times while I will painting. Click on the fill tool, click on the color, just click fill, but before that you put the strength here and turn off the tablet pressure. We don't need that. Okay, so we got our basic dirt color. We're gonna take a slightly darker one, but first we should change to the brush, and then darken it a little, add it to the palette. Also, while we are painting, we don't want this fall off here, because we are painting with pixels, so we are just gonna put it to flat. So it's a fall off. Change it to the last one here, and you should be good to go. You can see a difference while scaling the pixels. It just lets the paint. Also change the strength of the brush to 1 and turn off the tablet pressure. Control 7 to go into the bottom mode, and 5. So Control 7 and 5 to get into the orthographic. Then we just can paint the bottom side. We don't have any bleeds. This one, this one. You can be random here. Pixel art can be strict sometimes, but we're gonna get loose this time. So we're gonna do a few lines to make it look like a press 1. So you can press 1 and then you can press 4 or 6 to rotate the model like this. 4 in this side and 6 in this side. Just a few horizontal lines. I need to enlarge my brush a little bit since it's not following it. Okay. Oh. Too large. Also, this is one of those tasks which you can do with a mouse. No tablets necessary here, as always with the pixel art. Just we don't want to have too much pattern here. Just randomize it a little bit. This one. Okay. Okay, so let's say this is a basic dirt color. Now we need a grass color. So we're gonna switch to grass. Just let me test it how it looks. Also, if you are having troubles with zooming with a scroll wheel, you can always hold Control and click the middle mouse button and just drag up and down. It's a lot smoother zooming. No, I don't like this. This one. Okay. Okay, I like this one. I click plus. Control space to enter the window. And just paint around. We can click on 7 to paint the whole face. That's fine. We need a little bit here. It's too much holes here. Okay, so let's say these are our base colors for the model. Now we need to add some highlights. We're gonna do that for the dirt first. Select the base color, just highlight it a little bit. I'm not gonna do hue shifting here because it's really not necessary. Click on plus. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, that's kind of too strong. So delete it, select it again. Just I need a little bit stronger. I think this one will be fine. Let's say you just take a light direction from one side, so it can be any side since it's a flat model. Let's say you press 1 and light is coming from this side down. Come on. Okay. So the edges facing that light should be highlighted. So that would be this one, and this one. Okay. Also this. Let me check the layouts. Orthographic, okay. You can press 5 to get from the orthographic to perspective, and it is shown here. So perspective, orthographic, you can see a nice grid. It's always a nice mode to work in, and just paint. So all the edges facing the light. They don't have to be exactly straight lines. You can miss out on a pixel or two, that's fine. It will add a variation. Okay, these are maybe too strong colors. Let's say it is okay for the sake of tutorials. Usually you should take a little bit softer color for this, but I guess we are gonna cramp it up with the specular colors later. So let's do the same for the grass. Select the grass color, just highlight it a little bit. Okay, we need more. Press plus sign. Or we could also paint the shadows for the grass. Okay, so select the same base color for the grass and shift it to the darker. Click on plus. Let's check it. So it's basically all the edges here. Oof, too strong. Too strong. Okay, then just okay. Yeah, this will work. You can also get a little bit randomish here, but basically the whole edge under the grass should be darker. As I said, you can be a little bit random here. Okay, so press 7. I'm gonna just draw a few lines here. Just let me see how it's. So it's horizontal, like this. Well, let's do a few lines here. Okay, just make it flow to the sides. So we have our basic grass shadow. We also already selected the highlight color, so we can take it. We can sample it and do the basically same thing with this. So light is coming from this side. We're gonna just light up the opposite direction. Okay, so let's say this is okay, but I still don't like this highlight color. We're gonna change it with this one. We need to be subtle here. I really don't like these highlights. Okay, it's looking a little bit better. We can add some highlights now. So also just bring up the color. Just gonna do a few of these. Just to make it pop, nothing else. Okay, we need to do the same thing for the grass. So select not the base color, select the lighter color and just light it up a little bit. Select it again, add it to the selection, and do the same thing. Okay, we can do it a little bit more. Yeah, that will be fine. I like to do the lines on the edge, like this. So just overwrite any color that is there. It's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Let's say that this is our finished model with our texture and everything. We need to save the image. Save as. Save image. I don't need a space. What we can do now, we can reuse these colors that we have here and reuse the model also. What we're gonna do is gonna duplicate this model, create a new texture, and just paint with the same colors on the textures to create the texture, the dirt texture model. So let's go to layout, click on the lookup dev mode. Just gonna deselect this one. Actually leave it, but I don't like the grids. Okay. Turn on the snapping. This is a little magnet icon here, and also change it to a vertex mode. Usually that is, I think, no, that is Shift tab. Yeah, Shift tab changes it and change it to vertex. Click on 1, press 5 to go to orthographic, Shift D, select it, click on G and just hover over the vertex and it will automatically snap the model to that vertex. So you have something like this. Now what we need to do is remove this texture. Remove this texture by removing this material here and renaming this one to, let's say, basic. So we have our basic material. This one is empty, but it still has the UV map from the model above because it's the same model actually. So we were in the shading tab. We're gonna create a new. Also, we're gonna delete this one and do the exact same thing. You can also select the material and make a duplicate from it, but for the tutorial here, I think it's good that we repeat some things. So we have the output, we take a texture, image texture, and something to connect that with output is a shader and a diffuse one. So color, PSDF, surface. For this model, we need a new texture. We're gonna create it here. This hamburger icon, image, new, dirt texture, 48 pixels, UV grid. and we're gonna select it here. And as we can see, it's the same as the first time. We choose the closest to get rid of the anti-aliasing and click on the clip to make it non-repeatable texture. Also, we can put an input as a texture coordinate and UV. That's fine. Now we can paint, and we are gonna do that by going to texture paint mode. We have that model selected, as you can see. There should not be any issues with texture bleed or something like that because we have it set up to 0. We already have our colors, so we can choose that. We can fill the model. Since this model is practically repeating itself into this color, this will be our base color here. So select the fill, select the color, strength is set up to 100%, and just click this one. Okay, that's okay. We can go to layout just to check how it looks. That's fine. We cannot see anything. In texture paint you are gonna see some lines here, but that's not relevant. Choose the brush, choose this one. We need now a darker color for a dirt texture. So select the darker color, tune it down a little bit, and click on plus. Just click lines around. You can get random here, it's really not that important. I want to only show you how it's done. Of course, you cannot paint onto this model. Okay. Also here, I think we are gonna use the base color from the block above for our highlights, and I might just tune it down a little bit. So we select the base color. Let me check just how it looks like. Is it too strong? I think it's too strong, so I'm gonna just tune it down. Is it just too strong? A little bit. So I think this is fine. I'm gonna add it here. And the same thing, just add it to the opposite side of the light. Because this would usually be a dirt block, it would be underground. I mean, underground, it is the ground, so there is not much light there. So I'm taking that into the account, and we're not gonna have here light up edges as it's here, because these would be usually the first blocks that you dig, and they would be really colorful. Can we separate the model here? No. Can we go to layout, select it? So what I did here, the top model is standing on top, of course, but I want to isolate this one so I can work on it. So I select it and press slash to go into the into the local mode. Now I can paint on it. Or that works only in layout mode. So we are gonna click on the cube and just click on the eye here, and that will hide it. Okay. Seven to go into the top view. And just paint a little bit of edges. Some highlights. I don't know how these highlights here are gonna work out, because I want the other cube to have a seamless transition into the other one. So we're just gonna paint it for now and check it out how it looks like. New. Okay, so let's say this is fine. Let's bring the first cube. Okay, let's rename it. Double click on a name and rename it something like Minecraft. It's a top cube, and this one will be Minecraft third cube. Just let's put it like this. Layout, press slash because I pressed it earlier, and this should be fine. There could be some improvements, of course, like we could have a gradient going from here to bottom, so you need to take that into account, but for the sake of tutorial I think this is fine. Let's see just how these are aligning to itself. So press 1, we have our snapping turned on, Shift D, G, that's fine, but it could be better. It could be better. What you can do now, delete this one, select the first one. Do not Shift D to duplicate it, but Alt D. It makes the copy of the instance. So when you work on the first one, it will work on the second one. That's just a tip. We don't need it here since we are painting on the same texture. But if I now go into the edit mode, I will go into the edit mode for both of them. Okay, and that's really neat to have. You also save up on the memory like that. Now select this one and go into the texture paint. See, overlays are turned off. Choosing the color. You can see that it is painting on both textures. In this one, just gonna resize the UV window. Okay. Check the other side. It's fine. Just select the first one, texture paint. This. So I think this is fine. think that's okay. You can always add more colors, add anything what your heart desires. It's perfectly fine and it will look okay, trust me. Let's just arrange them a little bit. So I'm gonna delete this one and I'm just gonna duplicate a few times to make a nice scenery. Shift D. As I said, Shift D and a G, press G to hover over the vertex and it will snap the closest vertex of the model to closest vertex to the cursor. So if I do this, it will do this. If you haven't noticed, I just pressed the G and hovered my cursor over the vertex. Okay, we can do the same with this model. Shift D. You can snap it right away or move it. Same. See how it looks like. Look tab. Okay. So we have this one here. We can do this one here. And do not scale it. I'm doing this by hand, of course, so you can see. So you can see how it looks like, but you can always do the modifiers. For example, if you do this one, just let me remove it here. And if I do the modifier, like array, you can quickly do just a few models like this. It's really simple. But as I said, I'm just doing a few models as a scenery, so you can see how it looks like. This one is turned on. Okay. I'm gonna delete this one. So you can just put this one up here. Ooh, okay, delete it. Choose another one. Okay. So that should be it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Share, comment, like, dislike, or whatever, and I hope I see you next time.